We are just one sleep away from the 2025 World Series. I've got the top 5 storylines that you need to know about. Also, those World Series rosters. Will the Blue Jays be getting back an impact bat? And Dave Roberts also hints at a possible change at the end heading into the World Series, something they could do differently with the bullpen, maybe even on the position player side. We're also going to relive the drama of Shohei Ohtani on that plane to Toronto. Shohei Ohtani is on that plane to Toronto, but he's bringing all of his friends with him. Also, some LeBron James Lakers tension. All that more coming up next on the LA Sports Report. LA is the sports capital of the world. The Lakers have entered their Luka Doncic era. LeBron doesn't just want a farewell tour, he wants a farewell title. The Rams are going to win the Super Bowl. Go, Kings, go! The Dodgers are the best run franchise in all of professional sports. Shohei Ohtani is the GOAT. Steve Ballmer will do anything to get the Clippers a championship. Mick Cronin has to win a national championship at UCLA. Justin Herbert is a top 5 quarterback in this league. College football is just better when USC is good. This whole city has the Mamba mentality. I love LA.
Live from the heart of Los Angeles, this is the LA Sports Report with your host, Doug McKain.
What is up, and welcome to another episode of the LA Sports Report. You can call Laser for short. My name is Doug McKain, a credentialed member of the media. I've covered LA sports for over a decade. 24/7 Sports, Bleacher Report, SI, Dodgers Nation, Locked On, Chat Sports. I do NFL radio for Westwood One. Also, if you're watching on Dodgers Nation, we are simulcasting, and we're going to talk a lot of Dodger baseball on this show, so definitely be perfect for Dodgers fans. We're going to talk a lot of Dodger baseball on this show all day, every day. We're going to do a lot of live breakdowns. We're going to do interviews. We got Yasiel Puig, the Wild Horse, is going to be on the show tomorrow. So you're going to want to subscribe. And even though if you were watching this on Dodgers Nation, you still have to go to the LA Sports Report and hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. And if you want to be eligible for a Luka Doncic authentic Nike Lakers jersey, a Clayton Kershaw bobblehead, you want to go over there, comment Laser, LASR, and Luka Magic, or you can do CK3K. Also, Dodgers Nation subscribers will be eligible as well. But welcome into the LA Sports Report. We're going to get you ready for the World Series. More and more World Series talk. We'll talk a little Lakers later in the show. But let's start with some roster talk, because one of the big storylines for the Toronto Blue Jays is, are they going to be getting Bo Bichette back in that lineup? That is a massive, massive question for Toronto Blue Jays fans, for that Blue Jays organization, because during the celebration in the Blue Jays clubhouse, well, he said he was going to be ready. And today, it looks like it's trending in that direction, that knee is going to be ready to go. And this is a major impact for the Blue Jays. How big of a role will he have? That's going to be the question, because yesterday I heard that he was at Rogers Center and he was taking ground balls at second base. And this is just a couple days before the World Series begins. He hasn't played since September 6th, when he suffered a left knee sprain. He missed the first 2 playoff series for the Blue Jays, has not played in a while, but he did say he'd be ready to play in the World Series. The only question we have now, though, is what role is he going to play? Because with him out, Andrés Giménez, he's been handling shortstop duties. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa and Ernie Clement, they've been playing second base. But if Bo Bichette can play in any capacity, that is going to be huge because he did play 30 games at second base at the minor league level, hasn't played second base since 2019 when he played a single game for AAA Buffalo. Looked it up before the show. But the offense is more important for what the Blue Jays can bring because you're talking about a Blue Jays offense that has been on fire for most of this postseason, averaging 6.5 runs per game. They're a incredible slugging team. This is one of the best slugging postseason teams we've ever seen, led by Vladimir Guerrero Jr., who hit 6 home runs, already setting the Blue Jays all-time franchise record in home runs in just one postseason. So that is really the question. Do you get Bo Bichette back, and is it going to be as a bat off the bench? Is it going to be a guy that's going to play regularly in the field? Because I think you're probably going to see their roster with Loperfido off of it, and that's probably going to be the move because you got Springer and Straw as fourth outfielders, Schneider. IKF probably stays on that roster for them, gives you some options. So, I mean, that is a real big impact. I mean, I think you look at Bo, is he going to be DHing or is he going to be playing defense? I mean, we just don't know how well Bo Bichette's knee is going to hold up. And if he's getting hits, if he's putting the ball in play, can he run the bases? Will that be a weak spot? Also, does that disrupt their chemistry? Does that disrupt what the Blue Jays have built in the postseason from a chemistry standpoint? Because we know that this, for Toronto, is a special team. I will say I do not subscribe to the idea that the Blue Jays are done. This whole idea that the Blue Jays are satisfied with just being in the World Series for the first time since 1993, I think that is it's pretty disrespectful to the fact that, look, I mean, yes, you played long series. Yes, you played 7-game series, but these guys are all professionals. These guys all, these players, talking to these players, I have relationships with these players. I consider some of these guys friends. And one thing I will tell you, no players ever told me, hey, D-Mac, my dream is to win the NLDS. My dream is to win the ALCS. My dream is to win the ALDS. My dream is to just get to the World Series. I've never had one player ever tell me that. Only thing I've ever heard players tell me, my dream is to win the World Series, and anything short of that would be a massive disappointment. So Dodgers fans out there that think that you are getting a Blue Jays team that's satisfied or that's content or already thinks is a successful season just because they made the World Series, I hope that you get that out of your mind ASAP. This could be a dogfight of a series. Do not take this Blue Jays team lightly, all right? Don't do it because they're averaging 6.5 runs per game. The Dodgers offense, I think, is going to be the key to the series, and I expect a big showing from the Dodgers bats. But in the NLDS, in the NLCS, the Dodgers as a group are scoring 3.5 runs per game in both those series combined. If you take out those first 2 games in a wild card round, it was a mismatch between the Reds and the Dodgers. You have 3.5 runs per game. So the offense for LA is not clicking on all cylinders. The good thing for them is you're not going to be facing all those left-handed pitchers that you saw against the Phillies with Christopher Sanchez, Jesus Luzardo, Ranger Suarez. Those guys are, and you're also not going to see guys like The Miz, like Jacob Mizorowski coming in. Thankfully, he did not start a game in this series against the Dodgers in the NLCS. You're not going to see some overpowering fastballs. It's going to be Kevin Gausman, Yasevich, Max Scherzer, Chris Bassett, Shane Bieber, guys like that. I mean, it's going to be Bieber most likely, and Bassett comes out of the pen in some capacity like we saw. But that is what you're going to get from them, and that's going to be the big difference is can this offense get going against this Blue Jays pitching staff that just has been used significantly. Guys like their best high-leverage reliever in Louis Varland, he's been used in every game but one. Hoffman is a guy that is a closer for them that he's had some up and downs starts and appearances. So I'm not overly concerned about the bullpen, the rotation, but that does not mean that there's not going to be some pressure for this Dodgers offense to go out there and execute and get the job done. Now, some quick roster talk on the Dodgers side. Yesterday, Dave Roberts did say that they're still having a conversation about one of the roster spots for the Dodgers in the World Series. They are expecting to have it pretty similar to what they had for the first two rounds after the wild card round, the NLDS and the NLCS, with presumably a Ha-Seong Kim and a Justin Dean who will possibly be on that roster. But when you kind of look at the way things are shaping out for the Dodgers roster, the two-way player, Shohei Ohtani, goes down saying the unicorn. Starting pitchers, Blake Snell going in game 1, Yoshinobu Yamamoto going in game 2. Shohei Ohtani, I still think there's a possibility, depending on how games 1 and 2 go, that he could get the start in game 3 if they feel like they're down 0-2, if it's a split and they want to go up 2-1. Maybe they do go to the Ohtani well earlier just because he is a better and more dominant starting pitcher than Tyler Glasnow, and then that frees up Tyler Glasnow to be used as a bullpen piece in a more advanced role early in this series. Remember, Dodgers starting pitchers have accounted for, if you consider the ones that have been used out of the bullpen in Roki and Sheehan and Kirsch and Glasnow, Dodgers starters have accounted for over 85% of the innings this postseason. Essentially, the only relievers you're using are Anthony Bonda, Alex Vesia, Blake Treinen in most capacities. So Glasnow is a guy who gets a more run earlier in the series if you decide to go with Shohei Ohtani in Game 3. And then if you go with Shohei Ohtani in Game 3, there's a world where you could use him as a reliever if this series goes long in Game 7. If you need a big out, if you need a WBC moment where he comes out there and strikes out George Springer, that would be absolutely electric. So it's another thing to consider, as well as the earlier you use Shohei Ohtani as a starter, the higher the likelihood is that you can use him as a reliever if for whatever reason you need him. Perfect world, Roki Sasaki stays dominant as a closer, and you're not having to go to that, but that's just something to consider. Now, as far as the position player side, I want to save the bullpen for last. We'll get there in a second here. The position player side, Will Smith, Ben Rortvedt, those are the two catchers. Then you look at the rest of this roster and who is going to make that up. It feels like they're going to pretty much go chalk. The infielders, Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts, Max Muncy, Miguel Rojas. Outfielders, Andy Paz, Teoscar Hernandez, Alex Call, Justin Dean as a pinch runner. Also a late-game defensive substitution for Teoscar Hernandez. You put Teoscar Hernandez on the bench if you don't need him offensively. And then you slide Andy Paz over to right field where he's a better defender. And then Justin Dean can play in the outfield, also a pinch run possibility. Utility, Tommy Edman, Enrique Hernandez, Kike, the Banana Man, who will become the Dodgers' all-time leader in postseason games played. What a run he's been on. He was a little emotional talking to us about that the other day. It was really cool. Kike was asked about being in the postseason and breaking Justin Turner's record and all these moments that are continuing to pile up. And you could tell it means a lot for him to be a Los Angeles Dodger. And he even said himself, just a guy that kind of swims against the stream. He's from Puerto Rico, a guy he didn't expect to be in this situation necessarily to be a part of Dodgers lore forever the way he has been. It's nothing but an inspiration. I love Kike Hernandez with all my heart, and he'll never have to pay for another banana in this town ever again. And then you got Ha-Seong Kim, who they like as a late-game runner. He's someone that you can use as a pinch runner as well. So that's how you look at the position player side. Now, as far as the pitchers, getting back to that, this is where you start to have the conversation. The only wild card, I talked about it yesterday on the number one Dodgers podcast and Dodgers show on YouTube, Dodgers Dugout Live, that because of the righties of the Blue Jays and the fact that it's pretty unlikely they're going to open up with a lefty in any game, if they wanted to go with Lauer, a guy like that, the Blue Jays do have a couple of left-handed relievers that they could consider in those situations. But the truth is, you're going to see some traditional starts with that rotation, with those four righties in Gausman, Savage, Bieber, and Scherzer. So with that, do you throw on another right-handed reliever because of not only do you have Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and George Springer, but now you're going to have Bo Bichette from the right side to deal with as an impact back, a guy that hit .311 in the regular season and was a hits leader. So, I mean, that is definitely something to account for. So when you look at where the matchups are at from the right-handed relievers, you've got Roki Sasaki. That's your primary number one option late in games and leverage situations. Blake Treinen. Emmet Sheehan is a guy that you could use as a setup man, a guy in those middle innings, then give you multiple innings. If you get 6 innings from a starter, if it's a power right-handed starter, it's a good chance you're going to see a lefty coming out, maybe an Alex Vester and Anthony Banda in those situations. But Emmet Sheehan's another guy they can turn to as well. And then Ben Kasparius is another high-leverage reliever that I think is going to be an X factor in this series potentially if it goes deeper, because he's shown the ability to play up as a reliever, to be really good at neutralizing right-handed bats, but you could look to add another guy. So right now, the bullpen, I've got 9 dudes: Blake Treinen, Alex Vesia, Jack Dreyer, Anthony Banda, Emmet Sheehan, Roki Sasaki, Clayton Kershaw, Ben Kasparius. That's 8. And then the 9th spot, you got Justin Robleski, Tanner Scott, Edgardo Enriquez, and Will Klein. Those 4 guys, I think, are competing for that last spot. And I think ultimately they do go with a righty, Will Klein or Edgardo Enriquez. Enriquez, he got a bite at the apple in the wild card round against the Reds, did not pitch well in his opportunity. So do they go with Will Klein because of how well the stuff was playing up late in the year? I know he was in talks for the NLCS, so this could be his opportunity. I would prefer to go with Will Klein because he has misbat stuff. Edgardo Enriquez, I don't trust him. I really don't. I think the potential is certainly there. He doesn't miss a ton of bats and get a lot of swing and miss for a guy that you see in those situations that can throw high velocity fastballs and sinkers, and his stuff certainly plays, but it doesn't play up on a swing and miss level. And that was the big issue for the Mariners pitchers, is they could not generate swing and miss when they needed to. Will Klein, I'm going Will Klein. I mean, they probably go Edgardo Enriquez, but if it was my roster, I go Will Klein because I don't trust Edgardo. But I would also, too, say, hey, if I'm going to continue to get this dominant starting pitching and Roki and Treinen are going to continue to maintain their roles, and the same goes with Alex Vesia and Anthony Banda, you're not going to need a ton of relievers if this series goes the way we hope it does. But in the event that this Blue Jays offense stays hot and they can get to one of these Dodgers starters in some of these games, you're going to need to call upon these guys. Now, Tanner Scott, I just would not throw in that situation. I really wouldn't. He's coming off the surgery. He did throw bullpens last couple of days, and he is under consideration to make this roster. But 1, he's a lefty. 2, he's had a really rough year. 3, you add the surgery and the missed time and everything that's come along with it. In all fairness, I want to see Tanner Scott back next year just to save him from himself and not have to put him in a tough situation. I think it's a very tough situation for him. And Justin Robleski, I'm a big believer in Robo, but the fact that he's a lefty, I would take a righty over a lefty in this situation. Only other thing you could do if you wanted to would you keep Robleski and you take Will Klein or Edgardo Enriquez, one of those two, or even a Kyle Hurt. Kyle Hurt would be the ultimate wild card in this situation if you go with a Kyle Hurt. But I think that would be unlikely just because he hasn't even pitched at the big league level this season. So imagine not pitching at the big league level. All of a sudden you're throwing him into the World Series. That seems like a high-risk move that the Dodgers would be averse to. But there is a world where you leave one of Ha-Seong Kim or Justin Dean off the roster. I think Justin Dean's a lock because he's a late-game defensive replacement. In my eyes, he should be a lock because he can also pinch run, and Ha-Seong Kim doesn't have a defensive position. But if you're going to pick between one of those guys, leave them off, and then you put Robleski and a Will Klein or Edgardo Enriquez on, that's an option. Like I said, the ultimate wild card would be, because there's a lot of righties, you put Conforto on the roster instead of Alex Call as a outfield bat option. But the other thing there is, he's a guy you could pinch hit. Or how about Dalton Rushing? Dalton Rushing, because of all the righties on the mound, Dalton Rushing could be a pinch hit option too. So that's another thing, is you put Dalton Rushing on the roster and you leave off Alex Call because you already have a roster spot that's going to be used the entire time in Kike Hernandez holding down left field. So I know it's a lot there, but I think that's where they're at. I think that's where they're at roster-wise. But next, we're going to do the storylines. I'm excited to get into this. A little different type of topic here. Give me those predictions. And later, we're going to go live after Media Day in Toronto. So expect a big show for tonight. Going to be a big show tonight. And then tomorrow, we got Yasiel Puig on the show. It's going to be exciting. All right, 499 Super Chat. Kobe Bryant says, Doug's job's not finished. Called offense to wake up. Our pitching is going to be perfect again. All four. I love that. D-Mac, say my username. Give me a bruh. One time. Weedman 420 bone. There we go. We've got I'm down for Klein. That's from, I love that. What's up, Don Kim? How's it going? We got more chats down below. Looks don't win rings. Don't even know what you're referring to there. True Kim, no need for any throwers in the pen. Joe Magazzeni. It's one heck of a roster breakdown, D-May, man. It's what my brain's doing 24/7, 365. By the way, if you guys want to support the channel, do me a huge favor. Go to the LA Sports Report and subscribe. Lakers, Dodgers, Rams, Chargers, UCLA, USC, LAFC, Galaxy, Kings. We can't talk about the Angels over there, right? Because the Angels aren't an LA team. You guys let me know. Like, should I include Angels talk over there? Should I include Halos talk? Because are they, just because of the Los Angeles Angels, they are literally outside of the city limits geographically. We've got Freedom 199. Must fire on all cylinders. Tell it like it is. Yep, absolutely. I mean, that's what I aim to do here. And this team is ready to go. I mean, there's no doubt about it. This team is ready to go. They are as locked in as you could possibly see. I have zero doubts that this team has any. I mean, they are 100% all the way locked in, and there's nothing that is going to change that about this group just because they won the World Series last year or because they've played an additional round or anything like that. This team is 100% all in, and now I'm going to do the top storylines for the 2025 World Series. And I'm going to start with the number one storyline. You guys ready for this? Yes, the number one storyline is Shohei Ohtani going to Toronto. Because Shohei Ohtani is on a plane headed for Toronto, but he's bringing his friends with him this time. And this time, Shohei Ohtani is on a plane to Toronto, and Blue Jays fans wish he wasn't on a plane heading for Toronto because he is on a plane headed for Toronto on a mission to kick some Blue Jays you-know-what. Because for some weird and strange reason, he's going to get boos. Shohei Ohtani is going to get boos. And let's rewind a little bit here. Because some of you may not know the entire story behind this. You may not know that Shohei Ohtani and the Blue Jays, look, they were very, very close. Who knows? I mean, were they close? How close were they? Well, the truth is that Shohei Ohtani did spend a lot of time meeting with the Blue Jays. And there's no doubt about it. That Shohei Ohtani, there was a time where, who knows, would he have picked them? We'll never know. But what we do know is that heading into the process, it was not like when Shohei Ohtani was picking his teams, it wasn't like he was a college football 5-star recruit that was just taking his visit so he could get the gear and take the pictures and go to Miami and go to Alabama and go to USC and Ohio State, Notre Dame and Michigan and all these schools just because he knew the school that he was going to pick at the very beginning. Don't know if that was the case. If you guys have been watching this show in 2023, I was the very first Dodgers pundit to lay claim that he would sign with the Dodgers, and part of that was because of location, things that I was hearing, and I always felt like it was like LeBron coming to the Lakers. You just kind of knew it was coming, right? But that does not mean that he was not at least entertaining the idea of signing with the Toronto Blue Jays. Okay, so here's what we know about Shohei Ohtani and the Blue Jays. During Shohei Ohtani's first trip back to Toronto in 2024, John Schneider, who runs the Blue Jays, he was asked about what had happened in the winter with him and Ohtani, and he just smiled, and he said, okay, let's wait for these details to leak out. And he said, quote, if anything, just tell him we want our Blue Jays hat back that he took with him after our meeting. So Ohtani took more than just a hat from the Blue Jays. And this is why it should be really heartbreaking to be a Jays fan if you wish that Ohtani was on your team. Because the Blue Jays, they did every single thing in their power to try to get him to sign with them. And by all accounts, they did everything right. And they were willing to match any salary. They were willing to give him that 10-year, $700 million deal with the deferrals that he wanted to. And just kind of going back to the winter meetings in 2023, I remember being in Tennessee, in Nashville, at the Gaylord Opryland Resort Convention Center, and the buzz was, where are the Blue Jays? Where are the Dodgers? And on December 4th, the general manager for the Blue Jays, Ross Atkins, he was supposed to meet the media. And I remember being there in Nashville. Man, where is this guy? I want to hear what he has to say. I was trying to go full court press on Shohei Ohtani coverage, and I wanted to get the perspective from other teams out there. And last minute, they came to where you're supposed to be, and they said, nope, he's going to be on a Zoom call. And Atkins, he was on that call. He was wearing a black jacket. He was wearing a white shirt in front of a blank wall, and he didn't want to admit what he was doing and where he was at. You couldn't forget it. I remember just seeing it with my own eyes. And Atkins, Schneider, the president for Rogers, Mark Shapiro, Chairman Edward Rogers. I mean, they were all not in Nashville. They were at the Blue Jays complex in Dunedin, Florida, courting Shohei Ohtani. None of them were there. They were meeting with Shohei Ohtani. And the complex was completely empty that day. All the employees had to swear to secrecy. The younger players were told that there was a Rogers ownership meeting that day. So the big leaguers, they were like, hey, we understand what's happening. We're not going to say anything. But they told the younger Blue Jays players there was a Rogers meeting, so don't come to the complex that day. So everyone had sworn to secrecy. Everyone had just zipped their mouths shut. And Schneider and the Blue Jays executives, they were waiting for Shohei, and a big black SUV rolls up. And Schneider said, quote, it was like the president was coming seriously. And Shohei Ohtani comes out. He walks. He goes throughout the entire complex. At one point, he paused and he was in front of a TV when he saw a couple of Blue Jays playing catch. And he started to worry that those players were on the complex. But the Blue Jays told Shohei that they were actually across town at TD Ballpark playing at the club's spring home ballpark, and it was just a TV. So he was a little freaked out about that, and the Blue Jays, they did everything they could to sign him. And one of the last things he did on that trip was he went on a tour of the Blue Jays spring training clubhouse, and inside that clubhouse in Toronto, and there was tons of Ohtani stuff. He goes in the clubhouse. They had a locker set up for Shohei, and at that locker, they had all the Blue Jays jerseys, the blue one, the white one, the road one, the hats. They had all the gear set up with Ohtani 17, Ohtani on the back, and Ohtani, he ends up taking all the workout gear. He ended up taking it, and he ended up taking the hat. In fact, there was all kinds of details. I mean, they knew that Ohtani liked pulp in his orange juice, and they basically had that and weighed out his coffee. They had done their homework to try to show Shohei that they were going to be a great home for him. And all of the guys, executives, one thing they said at the end was that Ohtani packed up the lockers, he took the bags, he took the jerseys, and that they weren't expecting that. They were shocked by that, and that's why they were encouraged. Because, like, wow, he was keeping the gear, man. That's got to say something, right? And then, how about this? When he walked back to that black SUV that he came out of, Shohei Ohtani opened the door, and who was it? It was Decoy. None other than Decoy. And what was he wearing? He was wearing a Canadian dog jacket, the Blue Jays one, that they had bought for him, and he was wearing it. So who knows what was going through Shohei Ohtani's mind? I want to know where those jerseys are at. I mean, does he still have those jerseys? That would blow my mind. But that is the story where they were kind of leading into it. And then that sets the stage for what happened on that day. And let's relive that a little bit, because I know for you, it's a day you'll never forget. You know where you were, you know the emotions that you had, but let's hit the timeline of it all. So 8:39 Eastern. It is not even 6 o'clock in the morning, 5:39 in the morning West Coast time. John Morosi tweet out, source, Shohei Ohtani's decision is imminent, possibly as early as today. And there were some on X that were pointing out that this makes a lot of sense, because that was the 6-year anniversary of the day that Shohei Ohtani had made his decision to sign with the Los Angeles Angels originally. So, hey, if you're a big fan of dates and timing, that was the thought there. And then all of a sudden, Blue Jays fans started tracking flights. And there was a flight, a private one, that was scheduled to take off from John Wayne Airport near Anaheim that morning and land in Toronto that afternoon. And all of a sudden, more than 4,000 people started following that public flight tracker, making it the most followed flight in the history of FlightAware. And this is normal behavior in college football recruiting circles. We saw a little bit of this with Kawhi before he chose the Clippers a couple years ago. Thank God that he did. I'm glad he wasn't ever a Laker. And then you started to see the rumors start to pop up. And then all of a sudden, we saw this. John Morosi tweets out, sources, Shohei Ohtani's en route to Toronto today. A representative of his agency, CAA, could not comment when asked about Ohtani's travel plans. At this hour, Ohtani does not have a signed agreement with any MLB team. So that sent absolute shockwaves through the baseball world. Oh my goodness. Shohei Ohtani is expected to make his decision. He's en route to Toronto. Why else would he go to Toronto if it wasn't to sign with that team and make his decision? And then it starts to get even more wild and even more weird. At 9:42 a.m., and this is East Coast time, at 9:42 a.m., we're talking 6:42 LA time. I'm rolling out of bed like, what the heck is going on? I was actually up because someone had called me about all this. So I was up drinking my Coke Zeros at 5:30 in the morning. And an opera singer had said and started to spread a rumor that Yusei Kikuchi had rented a sushi restaurant. An account that was that was claiming to be an opera singer, claimed that the Blue Jays starting pitcher Yusei Kikuchi had reserved an entire sushi restaurant near Rogers Center almost as if it was some type of Shohei Ohtani welcome dinner. Some type of welcome dinner. Check out this tweet. And then you got, it was a tweet from Clarence Frazier saying, source, Yusei Kikuchi reserves entire upscale sushi restaurant near Rogers Center for tonight. Reservation made for 50 plus people. Make of it what you will. Hashtag Blue Jays, hashtag next level, hashtag MLB. And then here comes Bob Nightingale, who tweets out, Shohei Ohtani is not in Toronto. Ohtani is not on a flight to Toronto. Ohtani is at home in Southern California. So then it's just pure chaos. Toronto fans are absolutely freaking out. And then we got one of the biggest bombs that we're ever going to see that scared the crap out of Dodgers fans. It gave joy to Blue Jays fans, and that was J.P. Hornstra, working for Dodgers Nation at the time, who tweeted out, Shohei Ohtani's choice is in. This is not a drill. And it was widely reported. MLB Trade Rumors reported on it, and you're just waiting to see if there was another source that was going to report on it. It did say multiple sources by J.P. Hornstra, but then all of a sudden, at 2:03, not so fast, my friend. It was about 10 minutes after that when Ben Nicholson Smith tweeted out, sources tell me there is at present no decision made by Shohei Ohtani, nor is there a timeline for a decision. Hashtag Blue Jays are a finalist. We'll see where it leads. So you started to see all kinds of different tweets, and then you had Alda Gonzalez tweet out that there was no decision that was official. You had Jeff Passan retweeting that no decision had been official. And at this point, it did feel like there was some smoke for Toronto. J.P. Hornstra had doubled down on it, but who knows, because Shohei Ohtani did not announce it himself, and there was no other reporting on it. And then there was a picture from a photographer of who was getting off that plane. And who was getting off that plane? Well, it was not Shohei Ohtani. It was Rob Herjavec from Shark Tank. He gets off the plane. And it wasn't Shohei Ohtani. There was no restaurant that was scheduled out. And then you found out who was on the plane. It was a CBC photographer, Evan Mitsui, that confirmed that it was Rob Herjavec that came off the plane. So no, it was not him. And then at 11:05 that night, John Morosi tweeted out, quote, today I posted reporting that included inaccurate information that Shohei Ohtani was traveling to Toronto. I regret the mistake and apologize to baseball fans everywhere. I am deeply sorry for letting you down. And then you had nothing from J.P. Hornstra until days following, but that night it felt like there was nothing going on, that we're just waiting for Shohei to make his announcement, and who knows, was it still going to be Toronto? Who knows, was it going to be the Dodgers? They were waiting. The Dodgers, there's a famous story where Dave Roberts was golfing with Kevin from The Office, and he finds out, I've spoken to Stan Kasten about it. They were wondering what was going on, and it was radio silence until the very next day, and that is when we got the best Instagram post in the history of Instagram posts. It was reported by trusted MLB insider, goes by the name of Shohei Ohtani. Yes, it was Shohei Ohtani, who clearly just went to Google. One of my favorite internet moments of all time is this. This is one of my favorite internet moments of all time. Clearly, he went to Google, searched Dodgers logo, and just got the first one. You can see it's a blurry LA logo. It isn't even great quality, but he Instagrams his announcement. It reads, "To all the fans and everyone involved in the baseball world, I apologize for taking so long to come to a decision. I have decided to choose the Dodgers as my next team. First of all, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to everyone involved with the Angels organization and the fans who have supported me over the past 6 years, as well as everyone involved with each team that was part of the negotiation process, especially to the Angels fans who supported me through all the ups and downs. Your guys' support and cheer meant the world to me. The 6 years I spent with the Angels will remain etched in my heart forever." And it was just one of the great announcements. It's one of the great announcements that we've ever seen in sports, because it was the guy himself who announces it. He announced it himself, and it would go on to be just an incredible moment for baseball fans in Los Angeles. I know that had to hurt.
LA is the sports capital of the world.
I know that had
the
to
Lakers
hurt
have entered their Luka Doncic.
I know that had to hurt for the fans of other teams out there. Oh, sorry about that. But I know that had to be crushing. We got Luka Doncic here. I know that had to be crushing, but the truth is, he was a free agent. He made his decision. You got to respect the decision. And I think for Shohei Ohtani, what really sticks out is the fact that, hey, not only has he become a Dodger, he has embraced just a new part of his life, right? He has just come out of his shell. He had the whole Ipe drama, and that was kind of a tough moment, obviously, where he was swindled by a criminal. But even Dodgers brass, they've mentioned how different he is after the fact. And I just think he's a different person. But the last thing I want to say about this and why this is a storyline is, sure, I mean, this is a credit to the Blue Jays. I mean, for the Blue Jays to get offended by this, I think is ridiculous. Because let's talk about this. You would think like 20, 30 years ago, it'd be Dodgers Yankees or Dodgers Red Sox, maybe Dodgers Cubs, or maybe Dodgers Giants. But it was Dodgers Blue Jays. And the Blue Jays were also in it with Roki Sasaki. If I'm the Blue Jays, I feel good about the fact that I've turned myself into an organization that is finishing right at the top for the best free agents in the sport. And they're getting guys like that. And talking about Vladimir Guerrero Jr., they're able to re-sign guys like that, right? So that definitely is a plus for me. And if you're a Blue Jays fan booing Shohei Ohtani, you're just bitter and you're just a straight-up moron, because Shohei Ohtani did not do anything wrong. Shohei Ohtani should not get booed because of some erroneous reporting. Shohei Ohtani did not report that he was on a plane to Toronto. Shohei Ohtani did not report that he was signing with the Blue Jays. Shohei Ohtani did absolutely nothing wrong, just like he never does. Okay? So boo him all you want, but get ready, because I think that's going to backfire on you, Blue Jays fans. I really do. I think that's going to backfire on you in a major, major way. And just look at Shohei, what he's been able to do since signing that deal. Think about how insane it's been. Shohei Ohtani, this is from June Lee. Shohei Ohtani's 10-year, $700 million contract is enormous, but according to sources, the Dodgers made back the entirety of the contract in Ohtani's first season in tickets, marketing deals in Japan, and global merchandise. His impact on baseball's growth cannot be understated. I mean, just think about that. It's a $700 million deal with 97% of it deferred. So that really puts the present day value of that contract to $460 million. But I mean, the tickets increased by a little bit. The parking, the merch, all that stuff. I mean, Fanatics, they tweet out the very next day that his number 17 Dodgers jersey set a record for most sales within a 48-hour span. He's a massive brand, and he pays for himself. And the reason is because he also makes $100 million a year in his own endorsements. So you got to love that. So that's a storyline that you definitely have to follow. I mean, geez, Toronto is mad because a reporter made a mistake. Toronto is mad because a couple of reporters made mistakes. And you're mad at Shohei Ohtani for that. I mean, come on now. We know it's just like when, I mean, you got to just wait. It's like when The Rock tweet out about Osama bin Laden and they got the SEAL Team 6 that got Osama bin Laden. Yeah, I'm sure The Rock, that's cool. I need to hear from a couple more people. Okay. But I think I want to see the Dodgers reserve that same sushi restaurant if they go back in Game 6 and win it. How incredible of a troll job would that be? But, yeah, I look at this World Series as one loaded with storyline. So another storyline you got to know is the George Springer angle. You got to look at that as a very compelling one because he was a part of that 2017 Astros team. And that definitely was a scary moment to know that, okay, he's going to be back. Will he torment him? Hey, as long as he's not cheating, I am going to feel good about the Dodgers' chances in this one. But other storylines in this one, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., he's been outstanding. Ohtani versus Vlad Jr., they were the two finalists for the 2021 AL MVP. He has a chance to make history himself, establishing himself as one of the great Canadian superstars of all time as far as guys that play there. He'd be an icon there. It'd be a statue moment for him. I mean, if Vladdy is probably going to get a statue already, but, I mean, his dad playing for the Expos, him playing for Toronto, it'd be awesome. How about Don Mattingly in his first World Series facing the team that he used to manage? Donnie Baseball's atrocious as a manager. I hope that Kershaw kind of sticks it to him a little bit. How about Teoscar Hernandez facing his former team that he broke out with? How about Freddie Freeman, a dual Canadian and American citizen who played for Team Canada in the WBC, facing the Blue Jays? And how about the fact that his mother, who passed away when he was young, Canadian, that is definitely a storyline that will be near and dear to a lot of fans' hearts because of how wonderful a person Freddie Freeman is and that whole aspect of it. And look, In-N-Out versus Harvey's. No, Drake versus Kendrick Lamar. You've got the 32-year-old drought for the Blue Jays who are trying to break that, and the Dodgers trying to become back-to-back. So there's tons of storylines. Max Scherzer, Kershaw versus Scherzer. I mean, you got the guys their generation, and you got Max Scherzer, the guy who quit on the Dodgers. Let's call it what it is. He straight up quit on the Dodgers in 2021. He quit on this team in 2021. And wouldn't it be great for the Dodgers to pound him because he made a business decision that I think that ultimately think led to Walker Buehler going on short rest, which also led to the situation with the injury. So that one's tough. But all right, let me know, what's your favorite, most juicy, most intriguing storyline? Just kind of looking back now, what are your thoughts on all of the Lo-Fi Jet? I appreciate that. 499. What are your thoughts on just the entire drama between the two? I can't stand the Blue Jays and their fans. I can't stand them. They're so annoying. Like I really like I know it's crazy, but I just think it's so annoying that you're mad at Shohei for a report from someone that he didn't go to. 499 Blue Jays better play clean baseball and not try to hit him. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that'll be a problem if he does that. But if he does, it could be a Luis Robert Suarez moment. Beer Sama, my problem is that they blame Shohei for this. Dude, blame the dumb reporter that tweeted that. Adam, LeBron got caught gambling. I saw that LeBron was dragged in that. We'll dive into that in a second here. Palm trees versus poutine. Blue Jays can have LeBron. Toronto fans are new to winning. That's from Wadib 69. Yeah, so let me try to pull up what is going on with let's see, LeBron. I saw that it was let's see here. Actually, I want to take some more of your comments here on all Dodgers stuff. D-Mac, get LeBron off the screen. We don't like him. Adam, Toronto, LeBum James. Yeah. Love your contact, DMAC. One more sleep. Let's freaking go. Drake's birthday is game 1. Hope we give him a nice present. That's a comment of the show. I love that. Toronto is in a null factor. Hollywood lifestyle versus Drake lifestyle. Blake is MVP. No on 50. Who cares if they boo him? I agree. Well, DN, that's not, one person there. I work separately. I do my show. I do media. I do my show. It's not a similar thing. I had no involvement in that in any way, shape, or form at all whatsoever in any capacity. Bong Song, Los Angeles over everything. What up, Julian? I hope Blake goes 9. Blue Jays fans are in Yankees fans light. Play Dodger Blue. Muad'Dib 69. Yeah, I like that. There we go. Yeah, for sure. All right, let's see. The LeBron James dragged into NBA Mafia gambling scandal. This is pretty interesting. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what actually comes of this. I don't know. Let's see. It says the NBA superstar LeBron James now embroiled in the NBA's Mafia gambling scandal after it was alleged his private information was leaked from the Los Angeles Lakers locker room. The NBA was thrust into a full-blown crisis on Thursday morning after the FBI revealed a series of wide-ranging investigations into Mafia-led gambling rackets with Portland Trailblazers head coach Chauncey Billups and Miami Heat guard Terry Rozier are among 34 arrested. Wow, 34 arrested. And now it has been claimed that another defendant, former NBA star Damon Jones, shared private information about James's injury status with gamblers just days after he set the league's all-time scoring record. Wow. According to the FBI, Jones, a friend of James and not an employee of the Lakers, sold or tried to profit from non-public information about the basketball legend before he was ruled out of the game against the Milwaukee Bucks on February 9th, 2023. Interesting. So LeBron has been dragged into the NBA betting scandal. Wow. That's pretty interesting stuff. Doesn't implicate him or anything like that. That is going to get pretty interesting. That is going to get pretty interesting. And don't bring up Ipe. Don't want to hear any of that. But LeBron James is there was a story today about LeBron from Jovan Bua that has been pretty interesting, kind of hearing about just some tension between them and that LeBron James and the Lakers kind of being pushed out a little bit in a way, which is pretty obvious when you think about the fact that you got Luka Doncic and kind of where they're at from that standpoint. Did not look very happy or comfortable. I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too much into things, but here's LeBron James didn't look too happy or comfortable at the Lakers home opener against the Warriors. Kind of like stood still like a statue there for a couple hours there. But yeah, that would be certainly the scan. I mean, there's nothing that suggests that LeBron James did anything wrong or anything like that. Kevin Love was posting about Chauncey Billups holding him, but let's see. Let's see if there's anything else interesting. It says no Lakers employees or coaches are involved in the NBA investigation. Only one player has been named, and that's LeBron James. Let's see. According to the indictment, Damon Jones, a friend of James, who was not a former employee of the Lakers, sold or tried to profit from non-public information so that others could bet on it, including alleged conspirators Eric Ernest and Marvez Fairley. It was about who would not be playing or if they would pull themselves out of games before the February 9, 2023 Lakers game against the Bucks. Jones texted an unnamed co-conspirator that a player was out and they should bet the Bucks. The player was not on the injury report yet. He also gave information on the 2023-24 Lakers, including player 4, who the DOJ said was one of the Lakers' best players that season. Interesting. And it says the Lakers are currently not available to comment. Team and league sources said that Damon Jones was an employee of the Lakers at the time of these allegations. He was allowed to be in restricted spaces such as planes and locker rooms as he worked with LeBron James. So, I mean, I don't think this is saying that LeBron James was gambling. LeBron has no reason to gamble. Dude's a billionaire. But, yeah, I mean, hey, I guess if you're a GOAT, you got to be in gambling accusations, right? Jordan, Ohtani, and LeBron. But let's do some more comments here, and then we're going to see you guys later. We're going to do a jam-packed super episode tonight of Dodgers Dugout Live. So you don't want to miss that. Going to give you more of what I'm hearing about the roster, do some more preview stuff. I got Jeff Snyder coming on the show later. That should be a lot of fun. That should be exciting. So you do not want to miss that. Couple more comments here, guys. We got we got NBA already effed up. By the way, if you're tuning in for the first time, this is my new show, the LA Sports Report Laser. You guys can subscribe over on the YouTube channel. But you're going to get tons of Dodgers content over here. I got interviews with former players, Puig tomorrow, Kenley Jansen, Gavin Lux, Ryan Pepio. So that's going to be good times to join that and support your Dodgers over there. Do live breakdowns. But all right, guys, we got BL Boyd. There are Laker fans and every other NBA team fan on the universe who wishes they could never hear the name LeBron James again. Wow, so a lot of Lakers fans do not like LeBron. That's what I'm seeing from this chat. 199, Russell Martin, Dodgers fans only favorite Canadian. That's the comment of this show. Love me some Russell Martin. And, yeah, I mean, it'll be great to see him supporting the Dodgers. And we're going to love that for sure. And Russell Martin will always be our guy. And, yeah, we're going to end with I saw a really great tweet. Everyone's saying that the entire country is going to be rooting against the Dodgers. The entire country is going to be rooting against the Dodgers. You're going to have all of Canada, you're going to have all the United States, and then there was a really awesome map of the entire country of Japan that was rooting for the Dodgers. So that's awesome in and of itself. You love to see that. But all right, guys, we'll talk to you later. Enjoy the rest of your day. Media day for the World Series in Toronto. So it's going to be exciting times. We'll catch you later. And that's going to do it for this episode of the LA Sports Report. My name is Doug McKain. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMAC_LA. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the notification button. Hit that like button for your LA sports teams. Definitely do that now. Talk Dodger baseball later. And until next time, I'm out.
LA is the sports capital of the world. The Lakers have entered their Luka Doncic era. LeBron doesn't just want a farewell tour, he wants a farewell title. The Rams are going to win the Super Bowl. Go, Kings, go! The Dodgers are the best run franchise in all of professional sports. Shohei Ohtani is the GOAT. Steve Ballmer will do anything to get the Clippers a championship. Mick Cronin has to win a national championship at UCLA. Justin Herbert is a top 5 quarterback in this league. College football is just better when USC is good. This whole city